Hi, my name is Scott Harding, and I'm a preschool teacher here at Maury Elementary School. I've started making a pattern, and I would love for you guys to try to make a pattern. Today, our students are going to be working on their fine motor skills, patterning skills, social and emotional development, and retelling stories during center time. Oh, she liked to plant outside. You're right, she did. As a teacher, I believe that we have an obligation to build children from their strengths, to look at each child and say, this is where you're at right now, we can move you further. My job, especially as a preschool teacher, is to make sure that there's the right materials out. Good morning, friends.
Good morning, friends.
So we have a lot of new and exciting materials today that we get to use during center time that I wanted to introduce to you. Are you guys excited to see them? All right, let's check them out. Student-centered learning in an early childhood classroom is incredibly important. It is really the way that children at this age learn. So today, when you're in sand, or if anybody wants to work in sand, you guys can experiment with water. And I'll fill this jug up for you, this pitcher, and you can use this water pitcher to add water to the sand to see if it sticks together like glue or like mortar like you were talking about in the hallway, Lily. What is this fabric called?
Burlap.
Yeah, this burlap fabric. So if you'd like to work on sewing these pieces together to make a shirt, you can do that in Discovery. There's also buttons and all sorts of fun clothing items that you can use over there. In Table Toys today, we have some foam beads, and I've started making a pattern, and I would love for you guys to try to make a pattern. They learn through play because play is work for them, and they're interacting with materials that are going to challenge them, that are going to get them thinking, and they're going to be exposed to vocabulary that they might not have been exposed to before. What did we turn our dramatic play center into this week?
A laundromat.
A laundromat. It's really cool. So make sure when you're washing the clothes and drying the clothes that you're using the clothespins to hang them up to dry when you're all finished.
Or you can iron the clothes.
Absolutely, you can use an iron. Just be very careful with the iron because
It's hot.
it's really hot. Finally, in Art 2, Eno, yesterday, you requested to work with some clay. So I pulled some clay out for you today, Eno, if you would like to make a sculpture. But if you aren't sure about what you want to make with the clay, do you remember this story, The Mitten?
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of fabulous animals we meet in this story. Do you remember some of the animals we met?
A bear.
The badger,
The bunny.
the fox,
The owl.
the owl, yeah. So if you're thinking about something to make, you can flip through the story to check out the pictures. So if you want to retell one of our new favorite stories, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, you can either use these puppets or you could use these felt pieces. Of course, there's also some great writing materials in there too, and some books if you want to read. Sound good? Yeah, there's a lot of choices today, right? A lot of new things. So I want you to take a second before we start planning to think about what you want to make. Go ahead and think. Are you ready to work? All right, let's do it. When I'm planning my lessons, we use the creative curriculum here at Maury. So we are constantly kind of figuring out what it is that gets them excited about something. And we dive in deep using really meaningful materials and objects and tools to expose them and build vocabulary and build authentic experiences for them around that. Remember, patterns repeat themselves, right? And then what color would you do next? So we have black. And then what was next in your pattern? Oh, and then what happens?
Purple.
That's right. I can't wait to see your necklace. It sounds like really hard work. What a complicated pattern.
Look at what?
I'm going to make a pattern today.
It's really long.
It's really long. I can't wait to see it. That sounds like hard work. Good luck, my friend. I give them the flexibility of choosing their center because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what center they're choosing to work in because I can still accomplish my goals and the objectives that I have set for each child. Does that remind you of anything else that you would use to make bricks stick together? I think it's important to ask students to make connections to their real life experiences. And that's where the pilot sits? Excellent, excellent. Because it enriches the play, makes the play more meaningful. And I think what's even more important is that there's talking. What are you making today?
A boat.
A boat? What are you going to use to make a boat?
Sand. And water.
Have you ever been on a boat before?
Uh-huh.
Tell me about it.
I went a long, long day in Washington, D.C.
In Washington, D.C.?
I went on a boat.
You did?
I saw crocodiles and snakes.
You saw crocodiles and snakes in Washington, D.C. on a boat? Oh my goodness.
No, in the water.
In the water. And the more they talk, the more vocabulary they're going to build, the more language and vocabulary I'm going to get to expose them to. And I think it's just incredible to keep having those exchanges with children. Excellent. Should we put your sculpture up to dry? What does this sculpture remind you of? Does it remind you of anything? What else is made of clay? Terracotta warriors. Have you ever seen a terracotta warrior before?
Only a long time ago at the Terracotta Warrior Museum, I see Terracotta Warrior, but now they moved.
They moved. Where did they go?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think that's China where they got dug up.
Ah, I see. Have you ever been to China? No. I would love to go one day. How about you? Should we go? The students tell me what they're learning in their own way. They use their own language and they have their own understanding of what they're working on. And it's important because it makes me feel like they're really connected to the work in the classroom. So remember, when you're working with the clay, before we start using the tools, you need to really mush it up in your hands, okay? You think you could do that first? And then once you do that, I'll pull the tool out for you.
What's in that bag?
That's a great question. We keep it in a bag because if it's touching the air and left out in the open, it will get hard. Because this is the type of clay that gets hard. Just like Play-Doh gets hard when you leave it out. So any question that you're putting out there that encourages a child to begin this dialogue and back and forth exchange is really gonna help with their language development and get them to think deeper. Lily, what are you making today? How are you gonna make your mom? With what? With clay? What body parts does your mom have?
Arms, legs, and hair, and a mouth.
I see. Does she have a body too? Excellent. How about ears? You're gonna make little teeny tiny ears for her. I think that'll be great. Have you ever made your mom out of clay before?
No.
No? Okay, great. I asked her, what body parts does your mom have? For her just to kind of think for a second about, do I have everything on this body that I want? But it also helps them with their processing skills, that they are kind of thinking a little bit deeper about the work that they're doing. I see a body and I see a head that's in the shape of a sphere. Is there anything else you want to add? Arms. So Lily, the best way to make an arm is to make a snake, yeah. And push really hard while you're doing it, and then look at it. And then you could even cut that in half using your knife. Right down the middle. There you go. That's right in half. And then you can attach the arms. So let's make a pattern. We've got blue, pink. What color would come next? Maybe we could do blue, pink, and then what would we add?
Blue.
And then what?
Pink.
There was one student at the discovery table that I approached while she was sewing. It seemed very frustrated, and so I had asked her, you seem frustrated. And she said, I am frustrated. It's inside out. And she was pointing at the yarn that had tangled itself. Are you feeling frustrated? Why are you feeling frustrated?
I think like inside out.
You think it's inside out? Let's see. Go ahead and pull that back out, Anne. Go ahead and pull it this way. I see. I don't think it's inside out. I think it might be a little tangled. There you go. And then push it all the way through and then pull really hard. Yeah. And let me trim off this extra yarn for you. Might help. All right, give it a try. Keep going. Jojo, is the laundromat open or closed? Oh, it's closed. Okay.
No, it's open.
Oh, excellent. May I come for a visit? So here's an example of me actively engaging students in the learning process. In that moment, all of the children that were working in that center were kind of outside of the store door, and by encouraging them to open the store and help jumpstart their play, if you will, I got them excited and more engaged in their learning. I also helped kind of move them into more meaningful play when the play was kind of running dry. Do you think you could help me wash some clothes? Would you pick out a shirt for me to wash? Who does that belong to?
Me.
Should we wash JoJo's shirt?
No, this is a sweater.
Yeah, that's a sweater. Could you choose some baby clothes to wash? I think that would be a good shirt to wash. Cole, would you like to wash the hat?
Well, I'm in charge of ironing stuff.
I see.
Giving money to people.
And giving the money to people. What are they going to use the money for?
Oh, I need to give you some money.
Have you ever been to a laundromat before, Cole? No. What do you think they do there? The questions I was asking them in the laundromat really focused around the tools that they were using, the experiences that they might have had in a real laundromat or doing washing and drying clothes, just to kind of build capacity, build vocabulary and language skills, and to get them talking. In the sand table, today I thought I would help move their play forward by offering a new material, water. I wanted them to think a little bit deeper about what would happen once they added the water and how would that water react to the sand. Does it help it stick together like mortar?
No. It makes mud.
It makes mud. I think that they did an excellent job thinking a little bit deeper about how the sand would stick together to help them build up a castle foundation.
Hot water in and then it turned to mud.
I'm engaging students actively in the learning process by asking a lot of higher level questions, but by also picking a topic of study that interests them and picking materials that excite them and probe them and help move them forward in their play. So then what happens?
And she went out and she said she should, and she did.
And she did.
Yeah, and she came to the other cottage with the 3 bears.
Why did they decide to go outside?
No, Mama Bear liked to plant them.
Oh, she liked to plant outside. You're right. And she did?
Yeah, and the 3 bears returned.
And they returned?
Yeah.
Oh, the 3 bears came back.
Yeah.
And what happened, Keaton?
And
What did they see first?
They ran up to Baby Bear. And they looked at Goldilocks and they looked at each other. And then
That's what that says. That's right. In the library center, my student was reading through Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. We had only read the story 3 times in class. And I wanted to see how much of a story he could recall. And I thought it was really intriguing to see him kind of use a lot of the same language that was in the story, which was great. I want them to excel and be more than ready for pre-K because this is the foundation. This truly is the foundation. This is where we can make some serious gains and they can continue on through the rest of their lives.
Here you go.
Thank you.